All right, we are officially beginning number 1 in the acting and modeling series class, quote unquote. Because I don't think that I'm a teacher, but I'll give you what knowledge I do have. So, where to start? So the key talking points here, we're going to do a little bit about me, and there's a little bit about Reb later. We're going to do the check yourself, which is going to talk about checking your expectations. Okay, before you enter modeling or acting or whatever, these arenas are tough. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Where to start for both. Pay sites versus free sites. Networking. I know that's a scary word for a lot, but it's necessary. The importance of crossing over, quote unquote, and final statements, and then on to our guests.
I just want to say I love your slideshows and your presentation.
You've seen so many of them at this point.
I have, and honestly, they're very effective, I have to say.
Yes! Now I have a ringing endorsement. I'm never going to stop.
You shouldn't. You should just keep on presenting. Keep on PowerPoint. Yeah.
What's up, Steven? Petition to change the topic of conversation to sex. We can do... Oh, what up? Who just followed? What was that? Who just became the Pink Ranger on stream? Ooh, let's find out. Oh, hey! Ev... Oh, God. Now I'm stupid. You're an actress. Actress 29. Hey, girl. How are you? Welcome to the stream. We literally just got started, so welcome. I have Reb on.
Hello.
Eva, voice actress. Oh, okay. Awesome. Okay, so a bit about me, guys. I'm the streamer. Voila. I'm an actress, model, and an overall entertainer. I'm studying psychology. I'm a retired martial artist. Got 3 of them black belts. What up? I love games, video, board games, etc. As you guys know, because I play on Twitch. I love watching too much TV. I'm currently writing 3 novels that will probably never be finished, so please don't ask about them. Pinks, I think there needs to be major change in the entertainment industry. You like Skyrim? That's awesome. But yeah, that's basically why I'm doing... Oh, and Pokemon. I love that. Here are my socials. They're also in the panel, and I have QuarkCon there because I am a guest there as of this weekend. You forgot badass? Oh, thank you, Steven. Enjoy that lovely laugh. Okay, so that's me in a newt shell. Okay, so check thyself, okay, before you wreck thyself. Very important. So when you're thinking of entering this arena, please keep in mind your long-term goals. So unless you are part of the 0.5% of people who get randomly discovered and then big overnight, you're in for a long journey. Okay, there are a lot of costs to this stuff. Headshots, comp cards, hiring photographers, equipment, outfits, travel costs, all of this stuff starts to add up. Greetings from Oh, hello, Iceland. You're the green one, right? Because Greenland's the ice one. Right? No one? Bueller?
What?
Okay, so health. Health is so important. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, good. Health is so important in this industry, okay? If you don't have the physical health, and I don't just mean looking super fit, I mean you gotta be able to move on time. If you don't have the mental health, don't get into it. If you don't have the emotional health, please don't get into it. All of that is so imperative. The biggest prank in history is Iceland. Yeah, that's very true. Jason Momoa has been acting for over 20 years before he landed Aquaman and got big AF. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He had a ton of small roles. And most importantly in your long term, do your research. This is so important because you will get swindled and you will feel like a donkey's backside. Short-term questions that you should ask yourself, okay? What do you have on hand to get yourself started right this minute? If you want to be an actress or you want to be a model, what do you have on hand right now that could help you do that? Are you already a personality online? Can you leverage that following into more of a following with it when it comes to your acting or your modeling? Do you have no presence online? You should start that up as soon as possible. Because as exemplified by Slayler J, am I in Hollywood? No, I'm not. As exemplified by Slayler J, you know, your following online can lead to you being in Nosferatu, which is coming out on AMC very soon. What's up, Odie17? How you doing, man? We're in the middle of class. What can you do right now to start a portfolio or a reel, depending on what you're going for? Take inventory of what skills you already have and use them to your advantage. You're a vampire? That's awesome. You probably can't act then because you won't show up on camera. It's a bunch of mirrors. I'm so sorry, Eva. Continued. Are you in this for the right reasons? Class, disgusting. How rude. You gotta be in this for the right reasons because being famous is super cool, I guess, until you're homeless, because you quit your job with no plan. So make a plan and then go for it. You guys feel me here on this? Always have a plan. All right, so you've thought it through. Now what? What do we do? We're gonna get into that. Acting. For acting, step 1 is always get yourself in some classes, whether that is for voiceover or for physical on-camera acting, whether that's for theatrical acting, in the theater, make sure you get in some classes. Get your reel done, get your reel made, get a reel in general. Headshots are expensive, but completely necessary. And then get some gigs handy, okay? For modeling, decide what kind of model you want to be, and there's a lot of different types of model that we're going to get into. Get your portfolio started, get it done, get it organized, whatever you have to do, get your portfolio together. Get some comp cards. This is mainly if you want to do runway and catwalk. I personally don't have comp cards. Do you have comp cards, Reb?
I did. I got them a couple years ago. Actually, more than that. They're very old and they need updating.
Well, I mean, they're not super necessary for the type of modeling that we do. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. I think nowadays it's very much like, what's your Instagram handle? You know?
Exactly. You're right. So you do all that and then get you some gigs. All of it leads to get you some gigs. Steven has comp cards. Well, Steven be doing a lot. So the different kinds of model, and this is not a complete list. This is a very general overview of the different types of modeling you can do. Glamour, commercial, parts model, fitness model, fit model, which is not the same as fitness model, guys. Fit models are the ones that do the off-the-rack demo garments in warehouses to show people. Then there's swimsuit and lingerie model. You can be a plus size or a petite model. You can be a fashion editorial model or a runway model, also known as catwalk. So when you're thinking about entering modeling, please think of what your look lends to, and then think of whatever subgenre you want to do, because, we have friends that do Lolita modeling, like Lolita fashion. We have friends who do nothing but fetish modeling. There's subgenres to all of this. Make sure you know where you're trying to put yourself. All right, so where to start? Acting sites, the free ones, especially on the East Coast, Dragonette Connects is where you need to start. That's just it. There's Facebook groups you can join. That'll help you get gigs. I've gotten a lot of gigs from Facebook groups. Twitter is actually a surprising place to find gigs. And Meetup, I know that's shocking, but hear me out. There's a ton of groups around your area that probably do, film meetups where they make a screenplay and then they film it the following month. It's actually pretty cool. So there's that. Free modeling sites, Model Mayhem is a staple. Super necessary. You can join Facebook groups, and there are many other modeling networks, but please be wary because people be creepy on there. They just do. They be creepers. Yeah. In the modeling world, there's actually a term called GWC, which means guy with camera, and it's basically a dude trying to take your shots for his wank bank. Okay? And
sad but true.
It's sad but true. You're right. Paid sites for acting. Backstage is completely necessary. Please, if you're going to acting. Eva, give me a second to get through the entire presentation, and then we'll take some people. Backstage is completely required. I'm also on Actors Access, which is the third one. If you can see past my head, I'll just move. And then casting networks. I'm not on casting networks. I can't speak to its effectiveness. However, a lot of people do use it and find great success. All right, no reel, no portfolio, no problem. Everybody knows someone with a DSLR these days, and they come in a range of price ranges, but they always deliver on a fairly good product. So this is a good way for you to get your friend to take some shots of you for your portfolio. Maybe you just need a quick headshot so you can get started in acting. That's a great way for you to get that done. Ask your friend to help you film a short monologue to put in your reel. It'll hold the place of something that you do later that's of a better quality, or maybe just something that you want in there better. Or you could film it yourself. The majority of things that I do self-submission wise, I do it myself. I have a tripod, I have a ring light, which is on me right now, and my phone. I very rarely break out my DSLR for self-tapes because they're not necessary. Self-shooting can garner some very interesting results. You notice a lot of your favorite NFs and, not safe for work cosplayers on Patreon. Oh my god, what was that?
I don't know what that was.
Oh my god. So, Reb's a demon? I'm so sorry, everyone. So, there's a lot of people who will, Oh, it's Steven. Steven, shut up. There's a lot of people who will do things like self-shoot their sets on Patreon, and it's a great way for you to get started again, but do find some photographers to work with in the future. Networking! We're there to the scariest topic of all. Okay? It's scary for some, but necessary for all. And it's hard as fuck. Okay? Oh, my big head's in the way again. We'll turn this way. So rule number 1 of networking, do not go into every interaction looking for a business contact. It is completely acceptable and encouraged to simply make friends with people in your same field. Okay? Hey, what's up, Candace? What is up, girl? When you go in and you make friends, I think those are a lot better contacts than if you just made business ones only. Rule number 2 of networking, business contacts are not friends. Okay? This is very important. Enter those with mutual benefits, meaning you're not going to call up your business contact and call them bro and then ask for them to come over and hang out and drink beer. When you call up a business contact specifically, it needs to be for business. You're making a film. You're trying to get a role. You're trying to make money. That's the most important thing for you to distinguish between a friend in the same field who may be helping you out and a business contact. Okay? Super important for people to understand. Do not mix. Do not cross the streams. Do not pass go. Oops, I went backwards. Lol. Professional. So how do you network in both of these fields? Here are some hints. Networking events. These provide a great environment for face-to-face interaction. Always have a card or something on you. So that's where meetup comes in, okay? You go to these meetup events, you schmooze with some people who are writing screenplays, people who are making films really soon. You know, oh, I think you'd be great for this part. Oh, I think that project's really interesting. Maybe you can find a role for me. That's how you get that started. Always give them a card. Always give them something so they know to contact you, you know, if they also agree that this is a good role for them. References. I purely only shoot with referenced photographers nowadays, okay? Has a friend of yours worked with someone that you really want to work with? If they have, ask them to give a recommendation. Online communication is by far the most common these days. Do not be afraid of shooting your shot and contacting someone via their social media or website. I think Rev mentioned this earlier. That's primarily how, you know, a lot of modeling is done these days. You're hitting up photographers. Oh, I like your portfolio. The photographer's hitting you up. Oh, I like your look. I would like to shoot with you. That's like the main method of getting work for a lot of models nowadays who aren't signed. Let me make that specification. And finally, websites. Use any of the aforementioned sites to reach out to professionals already working in your field. Now, I think I heard Steven and Reb trying to say something, but I was still talking.
Oh, I was just totally agreeing with you.
Oh, yay! Steven, did you have something to say?
Hey, I'm here. I can hang out for about half an hour.
Word.
Hi, stream.
Everyone say hi, Steven.
I'm also in downtown right now, so there's probably going to be some background noise.
Oh.
That's what we were hearing.
Between a dispensary and a strip club, so it's a very busy street.
Solid.
Of course you are. Zarfax says hi, Steven.
Oh, hi. Sorry, since I'm on mobile, I don't have your stream up right now. So
Oh, that's fine.
I thought this would be more beneficial than trying to type my thoughts in chat.
I enjoy it.
No, I definitely agree. In the acting side, network.
Yeah.
Put your shit out there.
Yeah.
And then network some more.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm of two minds on the friend versus business contact. In the modeling world, 100%. You know, you have the photographers you shoot with. You plan a shoot, you show up, you do your shoot, and then that's, you know, you shake hands, money's exchanged, you part ways. In the acting world, there's a lot more commingling.
Yes.
That goes on. You know, sometimes I'll you know, go out with an acting buddy, somebody I've been on set with, go grab a couple drinks, and we'll talk about like previous productions and that sort of thing, and you can, you know, they'll be like, oh, hey, that reminds me, you know, you worked on this project, you know, that was this type of whatever, you should meet so-and-so, you know, and then you generally will meet, you know, schedule some sort of meetup with the three of you and then expand your network that way. that is a type of networking that is much different than going to a meetup. In the meetup scenario, it is much more along the lines of, hi, this is who I am, this is what I do, here's my website, here's my business card, here's whatever you're handing to them, and going from there. So you got to play to your strengths, and you got to understand the scene, and it also depends on what type of, just like there's 100 different types of modeling, there's 1,000 different types of,
But this is part one. Let's not confuse the people.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, knowing what you're doing, getting into either modeling or acting, like, knowing your scene is going to differ. If you're doing fetish modeling, you're not just going to show up and be like, hey, like, what's up?
You're
right. What I mean, it's a much more tight-knit group.
Yes,
whereas, I don't know, I've never done runway. I'm way too fucking short. But
well, times are changing for that. Times are changing for that too. Never be afraid to go for it. But here's where a lot of this comes into play that Steven was just talking about. The importance of crossing over. So I actually took that photo of my sister. I was behind the camera. That's not me. So like, get acquainted with other styles, professions, positions, and people in your field. For me, that meant that I've worked as a camera operator, I've worked as a videographer, I've worked as a photographer, I've worked as a PA, assistant makeup artist, lighting help. Like, I've been all kinds of behind the camera in order to better understand my craft in front of the camera. And I think crossing over is very important. I also think that this is where what Steven was saying comes into play. It is so important for you to not only experience it for yourself, but gain an appreciation for what other people are doing, because then they gain an appreciation for you. So as Steven said, if you go out with this one dude and he's like, oh, why don't you meet the lighting dude from, I don't know, what's a hit show right now? Fucking, I'm blanking, like I don't watch a ton of TV. Let's say like he meets the production assistant for The Flash.
House of Cards.
House of Cards. So you meet them, and then that production assistant leads you to the director, and suddenly the director has you in a part for House of Cards for 3 seasons, Like, that's how that can work out. Mainly because he would have then expressed an interest and an appreciation for what that PA does. And that's kind of how that goes. So Steven's completely correct. The only thing is, this is part 1, so I don't want to get that complicated with you today. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where I'm gonna sign out, and then these guys are gonna take over. So in conclusion, research is key. There are so many scams in this industry. So many scams. Avoid creepers. Avoid people who are just trying to take your money. Avoid people who are trying to add you to a spank bank. Avoid people who would have you do something crazy for a little return. Me and Reb exchange photos all the time of people who decide to take naked photos in like a sink with a watermelon because it's fake deep. Like, who thought of that? I don't know.
There's just a website for that where it's just like a plethora of like, why did that happen?
Is there a website? Can you put it in the chat?
Can we also talk about,
like, there is one out there.
Can we talk about milk modeling?
Oh my god. Okay, but some of those are really pretty.
They are, but at the same time, you're in a fucking bathtub of milk.
That's true.
And they can be very pretty, but they have to be done correctly.
You're right.
It's I will say it's a pretty forgiving type of shoot.
Yeah.
But still, you have to have the right lighting, and you have to have the photographer know what he's doing, and the model knowing what she's doing. So
yes, you are both very correct.
Come on.
He or she, correct?
He or she. You're right. You're right.
You're right.
They. We are an LGBTQ friendly stream, everybody. Remember that. But the second thing is get good. There are 1 million things you can do to increase your skill level. So get on those. Every single day you should be doing something. For me, that means I'm submitting. For me, that means I'm reading monologues and trying to memorize them. For me, that means I'm, maybe it's just going to the gym because you got to keep that physique on point, okay? Get good. Yep. Don't be a scrub. And
amen to that.
Amen. So the last thing is, I am rooting for you. If you guys are in here and you're looking at this and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this, I'm rooting for you. because there have been I won't say millions, but there are a ton of people who root for me every single day, and that's the only reason why I am where I am. Steven, Reb literally got me started in modeling. Steven literally got me my start in acting. That's why I'm rooting for you guys to get down there, get in the mud, and get ready, because if this is what you want to do, I hope you get there.
Yep, I completely agree with that. And I mean, it is a daunting task, especially to get started. I feel like for me, especially getting started is the hardest part, but what you have to do is just go for it and take it day by day, take it slowly, and then from there, it'll start to cultivate, you know, and don't put so much pressure on yourself, and just, you know, take it, do it at your own pace. So.
Agreed.
Reb, did you ever spend time behind the camera, just out of curiosity?
Me, just a couple of times. Tim, my friend, obviously you guys know him, but to those who are watching and listening, he is a professional with the camera, and there have been a few times where he's let me go behind his lens and take a few photos and do things like that. So I could definitely, I'll be the first one to say, I could definitely educate myself a lot further in the photography realm.
Reb, look who's in the chat.
What?
Look who's in the chat.
For those of us not looking at the screen, who's in the chat?
Muba?
No.
Yo, that sounds like something from Alien.
It does.
Sorry, the cops are up today.
The cops are arresting you? Live on stream?
Oh shit.
Apparently you can't bring weed into the strip club. Who knew?
A lot of people knew that, Steven. A lot of people knew that.
I feel like in LA anything's possible.
Do you know any celebrities? Do I know any celebrities? Yeah, I know Khawaja. He's a celebrity. I know Steven. He's a celebrity. Reb's a celebrity model.
I was.
Yeah, actually, Steven was on Ellen. Was it Ellen's Games? What was that called?
Yeah.
Game Room?
Game of Games.
Yeah. So he's actually been on the television.
And Evil Stepmothers on IDTV. Hashtag shameless plug.
Oh yeah, that's right. So that and IGTV.
And House of Cards. And the list goes on.
Yeah. Khawaja!
Are we back on the Spank Bank thing now, or?
Yes. Oh, before speaking of Spank Bank, let me get into this. So Steven Natale is an actor. He literally just moved to LA like 2 days ago. Yeah. He's a cool cat, and he has 2 cats. Reb is a model. She's a social media babe, a babe in general, and she shall soon have a pupper named Evie. Are you going to make a VOD out of this? I'd like to share to some of the models I know. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I will, definitely. I'm going to edit it to not put in the fact that I don't know how to work Discord, but, you know, I'm going to put it up.
We can also edit out the talk of marijuana and strip club.
No, I'm leaving that in.
I consent to this.
Wow.
Coolly.
Khawaja is a total actor right now. Where's Khawaja? He's just not on set, guys. Can someone find Khawaja?
We can't work like that.
I can't work in these conditions.
Where is my Starbucks?
I asked for no whipped cream, you clod. So while we're waiting, so I kind of want to let, if you guys have questions for any of the people that are coming on in the Discord, please ask them. But if you don't, I'm just gonna talk. So you guys both, at some point you've been in a starter position. How did you feel? Did you feel like this encompassed a good starting position for people?
When you say what encompassed a starting position, sorry if I completely did not hear what you just asked.
Oh no, I was asking, do you feel like this presentation is a really good starting point? Like it brought up some things people should think about before.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You hit a lot of nails on the head, and you really honed in on a lot of things that people, that are honestly very good points for any beginning model starting his or her career, or whether it's a career, whether it's something that is of hobby. These are very, very good points, and it's a scary endeavor to take on also. So the fact that you're being open and honest about what can be out there is good too. And though model mayhem, if I can say that, it's it's a great starting point also for beginning models, but also there have been a lot of known scams with it as well. So it's just always good to practice good discretion, good judgment, and really know who you're talking to. As you pointed out before, references, that's a big thing. If someone's profile is kind of on lockdown, or it's on private, or they're giving you sort of one-worded answers, it's kind of a red flag, and you should just not pursue it. I've had that happen to me more times than I can count. Just these scams, they're constantly chasing down, fresh meat in the modeling industry, and it's really sad.
Yep.
So.
You're right. And you, I know both of us have done this, but you specifically have had a lot of people not work with you because you'll be like, no, what you're doing is illegal, or what you're doing is a scam.
Yeah, and that's kind of a red flag in and of itself when you are asking very legitimate questions on, their background, their references, and if they get defensive and if they get, they start to push back, then that's a sign for me to end the conversation. And I mean, there have even been times where after the shoot has happened where there's like this huge falling out or discrepancy, and this has only happened to me like once or twice, and later on I found out that photographer was just, very they were not forthcoming with who they were and what they were doing, and they just had a lot of like emotional issues, I guess, and it just sort of like spilled out into their professionalism.
Yeah.
And, obviously we're all learning to improve, and I'll be the first one to raise my hand on that. Like, there are things I've not done right, and I've learned from it, and I've learned from my mistakes, but what you have to learn is to keep, moving forward and not beating yourself up about it. So
you're right.
Yeah.
100%. Steven, have you dealt with anything like that in the acting realm?
Acting.
Oh, Steven died.
Oh.
Steven's in the waiting room. Oh, Steven died.
Steven, come back.
Steven, come back. Any kind of fool could see. Okay, well, Steven died. I think he got caught by the cops again.
Oh, God. He's in LA now.
He's in LA. Oh, no. Steven's, like I said, been a very big help. I'm sure that he's experienced the same sort of scammy shit in the acting realm. I've already encountered it in the acting realm. And thankfully, because of all the modeling bullshit that I had to go through, I was easily able to identify and get myself out of that situation. Yeah, so when you were starting, did you like... I shouldn't even ask this because I know the answer, but, did you, do you feel like there was a point in your modeling where you fell for something, or maybe you went into a scam without knowing, and now something came back to bite you years later?
It's obviously a very good question. Yes, you know this as well. Yeah, luckily.
Oh, there he is. 1 second. I got you, Khawaja.
Yay! Welcome.
We got him.
Hello?
Hello, golden voice.
Hey.
Boy.
I can't see the video now, but that's okay.
That's okay. Oh, Steven's back.
Hey, sorry.
We're all here now.
Discord shit itself.
Oh. Really quick, can you introduce yourself? Speaking specifically to Khawaja. Yes.
Okay.
My name is Khawaja Aziz. I am from the DMV area.
And?
And I'm not Mr. Hollywood, but I've been acting for about 19 years now.
I actually did not know that, so whoop. And what he's being really modest, but he works a lot. Okay,
He does. We've seen your stuff, Khawaja.
Yes, he's a, like, when they say working actor, this man is a working actor. You're also entering the voice acting fray, yes?
Correct, because I like to think outside the box. I like to think a little bit differently than other actors in the DMV area.
Yes. And that's influenced me a lot. Like, you guys don't know this, but he's influenced me a lot to really change up how I've been thinking about acting as a general concept. And thanks to him, I don't think I told you this, but I literally got my biggest paying job ever. I just got the payout today. And it's because it happened right after you had that talk with me.
Oh, wow. Spend your money wisely.
Oh, I'm saving it for vacation.
There you go.
Blow it all on tattoos like I did.
You have tattoos?
What? Yes?
What did you say, though? I know you have tattoos.
Oh, I said blow it all on tattoos like I did.
Oh, hell no. I do want that giant Leo piece, but I'm not going to do that. So, Khawaja, can you let people know, like, how you've changed as an actor over these 19 years?
Yeah, I can like really quickly, briefly go over like how I got into it, which was it was completely random.
Do it.
Sophomore year before high school, in the summer, all of my classes were already picked out. Long story, and I was like, you know what, school sucks, man, because that's the kind of attitude that I had back then. And I was like, I want to take at least one course that I'm interested in. So I started going down the list in the counselor's office with my dad, and my eyes landed upon the word that was spelled out D-R-A-M-A, drama class.
That was so dramatic. Oh my god.
Yeah, so I saw that. I saw that on the piece of paper, and then I started thinking. I was like, "What is this? Like, you know, if you take this, do you become like a professional Hollywood actor or something? Like, what is this all about?" Huh. And I told the counselor, "Hey, I want to take that." And then my dad, you know, in a little bit of an accent, he was like, "What? You want to become an actor now?" I said, no, man. I said, I just want to, you know, take it and see what it's all about. And I took it, and I became addicted.
I like it.
Hokey, man.
Small applause is to not disrupt and peak on my stream, but small applause. No, that's awesome.
And then I had to change my ways because back then, before drama class, you know, my pants used to always sag. And I spoke with a little bit of an accent because I kind of grew up in the ghetto a little bit. So I knew that through acting, you know, if I wanted to get more jobs and roles and things like that, I got to change the way that I speak. So in speech class on the podium, we would do this exercise where we would like enunciate, whatever the terms are. And then what I would do was that at home, I would take like a chapter book when no one was home. And I would take the book and I would read the book like this every single day to try to change the way that I speak. And then eventually, you know, I went from talking like Lil Wayne to the way that I speak now, I guess.
I literally can't imagine that, but thank you for letting me know.
I mean, like, the hood, you know what I'm saying? Like, it still come out every now and then and everything, but yeah, that's in the past now.
He's changed his ways. No longer does the thug life choose him.
Yeah, I mean, because whenever I would hear like rock music on the radio, I'd be like, "Oh, this is garbage." This, you know, like excuse my language here, but I would be like, "Oh, this is white people music." You know, just a lot of
not the white people.
A lot of ignorance. Fucking white. What happened was I saw a music video on MTV of a POD's song "Alive."
Yeah.
And these guys had dreadlocks, and they were kind of sagging their pants as well. There was a black guy that was the bassist. I was like, oh, wow, there's a black guy in this band? I was like, that's pretty cool, you know? So, and then I checked out their CD. Then I got into Papa Roach, Linkin Park. Then from there, I got into heavy metal. I got into metalcore. And then I listened to everything, jazz, classical, Broadway. So I'm a very diverse man now.
You are. And I love how you did that because I think nu metal was like the transition drug for a lot of people from only listening to like hip hop and rap into listening to like metal and like mainstream rock, pop, all that good stuff. I think new metal was like a gateway drug.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, and get out of here with that Nickelback business. Out.
I will fight you.
I feel Nickelback in Creed.
That's it. Everyone's blocked. Goodbye. No.
Stream ending. Screen flashes up on this.
All right, so I'm gonna throw this to everybody, but I really want to know, for one, that was an actually really beautiful story, Khawaja. So thank you for sharing that. So when it comes to like, yes, all the snaps. When it comes to all of these hidden costs, you know, if you had to go back to the beginning of your journey, what would you have done different about just the financial part of your journey? Let's start with Steven.
Yeah. So, step number one, if anybody asks you to pay money up front, it's 80% a scam.
Right.
I almost made that mistake. I went through a couple different quote unquote casting agencies that, you know, they were like, yeah, you know, the package of this to get, you know, your reel and your headshot and introducing you to your network. And, you know, I work with all these people, and they just start naming people because who's going to be able to check that stuff, really?
Right.
You know, it's usually $15,000, but we'll offer you a sponsorship for like $10,000. All you need to do today is pay $5,000. Tell you what, at 16, that sounded like a goddamn steal.
You're right.
But, you know, this dude works with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, and, you know, he could have me, you know, on the next, you know, Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
I was about it. And then I kind of, you know, didn't go through with it and was like, no, like, I don't have the money, so what can I do? So that's really when I started networking. And I guess to understand that background on me is I started in musical theater.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for a really long time, and then I got out of being on the stage and into doing production. So building sets, props, fight choreography, stunt choreography, all that kind of stuff with my skill set was what I enjoyed doing until I was working with a guy by the name of Yves Benesh, who was actually the kid on National Treasure. He was directing a short film and wanted my help fights and stunts and props.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, sure. And then he was like, cool, now I need a stunt stand-in. Okay, now I need somebody to take over this part.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of slowly got brought back out in front of the camera. And then I was like, well, I guess I'm going to be doing TV and movies now.
I guess.
So I started, I mean, in that transition for me from musical theater, I mean, it's a completely different arena than it is, you know, doing TV or movie.
Hold on, John, he died. Okay, he's back.
Am I back? Am I here?
Oh, you didn't die. Khawaja died.
Okay. Oh, gotcha.
No.
So that being said, during that transition period where I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing, and I don't know who to talk to, I don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really have anybody to kind of show me the way. You know, there was no Ugandan Knuckles. So I had to figure a lot of it out on my own. When it comes to money, it was, okay, well, how much do I really need to pay for headshots? How important are they? You know, if somebody likes, you know, my resume, oh, wait, I don't have a resume. Okay, so how do I start building that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't build a resume without getting a part. Well, how do I get a part?
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of just start reverse engineering everything. And I spent money on creating a comp card, creating a headshot, putting together different things to make myself as presentable and as professional looking as I could.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just sent that shit out everywhere. And I really didn't get a good break until I randomly ran into a casting director. So luck does have a part to play in at least my success. You all can agree or disagree, but ran into a casting director. She liked my stuff. She kind of took me under her wing, introduced me to some stuff, pretty much everything that I told Nick when she started getting into this is the advice that I got from that person. And she was the one that was like, you have to have a reel. Like, why don't you have yourself a recording? Someone's going to ask you, show me what you got. And writing on a piece of paper is great because really, who's going to go check that? No.
Right.
But showing them, here's what I can do, here's what I have done, speaks, volumes about you and your personal brand. And really, you're selling yourself as if you're a product.
Yes.
100% of the time.
That's
so invest in yourself as if you were a product.
Yes, exactly. And also, Steven mentioned a lot about crossing over in the beginning of his story. He wanted to do this thing, realized that he didn't have the necessary resources before doing that thing, decided to do all this other stuff in the same field, and now he's doing the thing he wanted to do. That is so important, to realize the cycle of life with these things. I love it. Next. Okay, well, Reb, why don't you answer the question and we'll figure out what's going on.
Okay. As far as things that I could have probably done over, they're kind of like what I was saying before. There are two different, I feel like, people who pursue the business, and I'm much more of a I consider myself a professional, but I do it more so in my spare time. Like whenever I get a chance, I do modeling, and people say, "Are you going to pursue it as a career?" And I say, "Well, probably not. It's just something I really enjoy doing. I appreciate making art. So, it's one of those things where there's maybe less room for me to do things that I'll maybe like that will come back, and I'll be like, oh, when I feel like you're really trying to chase something professionally down, then I'd probably be like, I would do this differently or that differently. But when you sort of have like a kind of more of a leisurely take on it, it's a little different. But I mean, it's not to say I didn't come across my own obstacles, and if I could have maybe followed my gut a little bit more in certain circumstances, I would have done that. I would have maybe, when I just first started out, I would be more careful in checking references and appreciating what I can offer, and not just accepting anything. And
right.
So that's very important, is to not undersell yourself, and to really put pride and faith towards what you're willing to offer, and don't shortchange that. My biggest struggle, and I wish that I could, or my biggest caveat, I think, with modeling is just like the urge to constantly compare yourself and things of that nature. So if I could just take that away, that would be amazing. But that's constantly in my ear all the time, and so it's hard. But yeah, it's a learning experience. It's a learning curve, and you learn every day as you go, even if you're like a long-time professional or just starting out.
You're right. I agree.
Hey, Reb, I have a question for you.
Hold on, before you ask that question, pause.
Oh, sorry.
We're calling this technical difficulty stream.
Yeah,
okay.
It'll get better over time, probably.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. Thank you for the vote of confidence. But the question was, if you could go back in time dealing with all of these financial issues, how would you change what you did, Khawaja?
Well, has everybody had a fair time to state their opinions or whatever?
Well,
we literally went through everyone.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious, Steven's question he had for me.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it's in regards of finances for a new model.
Yeah.
As a new model with zero experience, you just are setting up your Instagram, maybe have some selfies on there so people know what you look like.
Right.
You obviously can't go directly to professional photographers because a lot of times, they charge high dollar amounts.
Yeah.
And, sometimes going with, GWCs is is sketch, but they'll do it for free. So how, as a new model, do you recommend spending your money on going with a professional, going with somebody who's an amateur versus going with somebody who is a total novice who might do it for free and might do some really good stuff, but you don't know?
I mean, that's an excellent question, and I think it all boils down to what their portfolio says and what their how their work speaks for their talents. And I certainly faced that a lot of the time when I first started modeling. There were a couple times where I allocated the funds in order to pay the photographer because I really liked his work, and he had more of the following. He had more of the portfolio, so I could understand why I would be considered someone to pay him. And most of the time I'll consider trade. Though now I'm taking on paid work as top priority and more than I've ever had in my modeling career. But it's a transition period, and you have to be willing to take the trade. And a lot of the time it's not even considered a bad thing. You're getting something completely amazing for your portfolio, and you have something to show for it, and both people are getting something out of it. So it's definitely a way situation. You have to really consider what the product's going to be at the end of it. Like I say, there have been a few times where I was just like, wow, like that happened. But it's all a learning experience, and you just kind of call the not so good photographers from the ones that you want to end up working with. But yeah, yeah, I think it's the Khawaja's turn.
Stay away from the casting that takes place in shopping malls.
Oh my god.
We all know that.
Oh my god.
Like they tend to target naive parents and kids and children that have dreams, and the parents want their kids to be on Nickelodeon or the Runway or Disney or whatever. But what they do is a lot of these people, they don't even have much professional experience in the industry, and you're gonna go down this hole where they're gonna try to charge you hundreds for photos to get you on into their fake little database. They're gonna charge you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to take their phony little classes. And at the end of the day, these people are scam artists, and you're not going to get anywhere. I almost got scammed one time with, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this company called John Robert Powers.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to hear their ads when I was in high school on different radio stations, and hey, we're casting for Disney and Nickelodeon, and I went over there, and that place was packed, and I think everybody got accepted, and then they tell you did very good, and you just need to, before we represent you just got to take our classes. And then I'm not sure, but I think they had like this lifetime membership, which was like $2,000 or $3,000 or something like that, from what I remember. And later, when I went to college, my theater teacher, I brought this up to him one time, and as soon as I said John Robert Powers, he yelled, "Scam, scam!" I said, "Okay, well, I believe that as well, but what makes you think that?" And he said, "I used to work for them." I said, "Wow." I said, "How was that?" He said, "I quit because I couldn't do this anymore. I just felt too guilty. We were ripping people off." So, my start was, I've done 9 community theater plays. The last one was back in 2009. And I did that just to get my foot into the door, to learn acting, to put it on my resume. And then from there, I was just smart enough. You don't pay unless, they take out like a commission, like 10, 15, 20% or whatever that it may be. As far as classes, I mean, you can just take like little seminars here and there. I mean, everybody has their own route, their own path. Some people will go to like the New York Film Academy or something. You can take classes at your community college or your university. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you don't pay unless you're getting paid as well. So
yeah,
seeing a trend.
Basically, People be out there trying to get your monies. I don't know if you guys know this, but I did get scammed. It wasn't for like $2,000-$3,000. It was like for $500. And that company,
a lot of money.
It's still a lot of money. Well, it wasn't. The sad part is it wasn't my money. It was my parents' money. And I still feel guilty about it to this day. And my parents were like, whatever, like, look at you now. And I'm like, no, that's not the point. But anyway, it was the same sort of dealie. Like, I went to one of those, we're holding open casting calls, blah, 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 blah. Everybody got accepted as long as you pay this, like, $500 fee to get on their website. I did get headshots out of it. They weren't the best.
Wait, was this back in, like, 2012? Or 11?
Like 2009. It was like literally right after I turned 18 that I did this.
Oh, okay. I vaguely remember like seeing you have headshots like
Yeah.
back in like okay.
And they weren't bad, but
they were really good.
Yeah, they were. So it's one of those weird things where I was like, I got scammed, but I did get some good shots. But yeah, I ended up I paid, and then I paid like some more to be on their website. It was like monthly. It was a lot monthly. It was like $40 monthly. And I was working as a Taekwondo instructor. Like, I wasn't making bank. So I got no auditions from that. It really wrecked my self-esteem. I didn't try to, like, act anymore for a while after that. And then we did the dabbling and the modeling thing, and I quit that because I was just like, I can't do this. And after that whole video fiasco, and then... yeah, so it took me a while to get back to being like, I can do this, I just have to be smart about it. So I had to take the roundabout way financially to get to where I am. I still haven't paid for, like, professional headshots. I actually took my own.
Yeah, I mean, why would you pay?
I mean, I should, just because there's a certain look that I can't do myself, so I should pay for headshots.
Well,
yeah, I agree.
You have the equipment, and you obviously know Tim, and...
Oh, that's true.
So...
I'll just go to Tim. Tim, please help. But yeah, like, there's a lot of stuff that I feel that I DIY'd myself here. I don't think I'm gonna keep getting away with it. Like, eventually someone's gonna check me, and I want to be ready for that when they do. So financially, I am putting money away to get, like, actual headshots, but if Tim wants to do them, I'll throw some money his way.
He'd be more than happy to help you out. He's done it for Yuri, and...
Oh, yeah. Dope. Yes. Okay, well then, that's set. I made my own comp card. Like I said, that was a while ago. It's 1:22 a.m. there. Oh my gosh, Eva, thanks for sticking with us. If you have to go to bed, girl. But yeah, financially, that's kind of, I haven't had too many hardships, I'll say. But paying for, like, outfits, travel, like, modeling-wise, outfits, I've only paid 2 photographers. One time I regret, and that was with, what's his face, Reb?
Desi?
Yeah, that guy.
Yep.
I regret that one.
I'm thinking about too.
Yeah. But the other photographer that I ended up paying, it wasn't even that much. It was like $50 for the entire session. I got about 50 photos back, so it was like $1 a photo. I really liked that shoot. I don't even know if I still have those pictures, but I really liked it. So I honestly have not taken on a lot of financial burden just by DIYing a lot of my stuff. So I made my own resume. I took my own headshots. I put together my reel myself, which I actually should probably maybe get a professional because the way I did it is a little weird. But yeah, that's me. Steven, I'm gonna murder wherever you are. I know that's you.
I keep trying to mute it in time. I got one more thing to say before I jump.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to finances, understanding that not every paid gig is a gig worth taking. And I think this applies more so for actors rather than models. Mm-hmm. But the DMV Mecca, as they call it, goes from Atlanta up to New Jersey.
Yeah.
So prior to living in LA, I lived in Washington, D.C. I did a lot of local stuff. Maryland, Baltimore, Southern Virginia, I could deal with. But there'd be places that'd be like, okay, cool, we're going to pay you, $300 or like $500 for this 3-day shoot up in New Jersey. Oh, and we're not going to pay your T&E.
Exactly.
So I'm there crunching the numbers, being like, all right, cool, I'm getting $500 for this, no-name company,
but really,
it's gonna cost me, $1,000.
Yeah, or
by the time you travel, 6.5 hours, get a hotel for 3 or 4 nights, but also as an actor, you have to kind of weigh your, how much experience you have, how much you're actually worth.
Yeah.
And, what are you willing to sacrifice?
Well, also in that case, you do have to ask yourself, like, well, in the event that it wasn't a no-name company, if they're like a known company, known production company, or even a known directors on that project, and you're crunching the numbers, and you're like, in the end, I'm gonna make $50 for all of this time, but your name is still in the mouths and the minds of all of these people who are very influential, then yeah, I would say take the risk, but that's just me.
Absolutely. So are you willing to take the risk and, maybe sleep in your car or, a shitty motel? I mean, you look at the story of Peter Dinklage, who literally lived in a apartment underneath train tracks for a number of years, and now he's one of the, highest paid actors on HBO's payroll ever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was also in the ska band. He played the trumpet.
I did hear about that, yeah.
Yep.
Hold on.
Anyway, so with that, I have to jump, guys. I'm actually a little bit late for a meeting that I was supposed to be at.
Oh, no!
No worries,
but
dude.
I will catch you guys on the flip side. Good luck, and follow your fucking dreams.
Yes. Thank you, Steven. You can follow Steven at It's Gecko TV on most social medias. I'll be sure to have them somewhere when I put this up online. We love you, Steven.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that was a great piece of advice from Steven. I do want to move on to how social media has worked for you guys thus far. And I always like to use the example of Slayler J. Do you guys know who that is?
I do not.
She's the girl who did the she did a lot of viral videos. One of them being like what not to do this Thanksgiving, and it was basically her making fun of pardon me, Rebecca, white people who do tribal makeup.
Oh god.
And then she did like
on my own race.
I did preface it. I said pardon.
No, you did. Oh god.
But she also did like how like the houses like those Zodiac videos. She was like how to act like a Leo and Scorpio.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, she did those. Yeah, so she leveraged her social media, her prominence on YouTube / Twitter / Instagram into what is now a prolific acting career. Like she's literally on AMC as her first acting gig, like out the cut, and it's very impressive. But that goes to show you the power of social media. For me, I don't have a lot of followers on social media across the board.
You're getting up there though. You're racking them up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. But yeah, how have you guys, like, with your social media presence, how do you feel about it in reference to your acting, your modeling? Like, do you feel like having more followers would be helping you? Do you feel like it would be hurting you? How do you feel about it?
Khawaja, did you want to answer first?
Sure. This is just my perspective. I would think that as a model, the amount of followers that you have probably is a little bit more important than, say, an actor. Because as an actor, like, unless you're like a big name actor or something, like for models, the thing is that, you put on certain, whether you're, I don't know, just the scenery, or like someone likes the outfit or your pose or something like that, and people want to just kind of view your profile and just like and comment on what they see and so on. But as an actor, it's like, what is a picture really gonna do? Like a behind the scene photo or something, like that's not really, no one really cares about following that.
You're right.
Unless you're Brad Pitt or Will Smith or something like that, I guess they'll follow you. But yeah. So for us, I don't think the numbers really matter that much. However, on Instagram and Facebook, I do. Usually, I'll post like, hey, I'm at an audition, or I did this today, or maybe I'll take a selfie of where I am. And the reason why I do this for the DMV, at least for local or regional purposes, is that when people, because it's kind of a small community, because whenever you go on set, you see the same people sometimes over and over. And even when you're on set with other actors, just because the person next to you is acting today, they might be directing like a local commercial tomorrow or something like that. Mm-hmm. So when you show people that you're acting all the time, what ends up happening is that they're like, oh, this guy, he's a working actor, he's always doing this and that. And when they see the different types of characters you're playing, or the different type of sets that you're on,
you're breaking up, Coach. You're breaking up. My own server betrayed me.
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not.
Yeah. No, okay. It was. I think it was me. Oh, Odie, to me the amount of followers doesn't matter. I've seen accounts with 1 mil followers, but their content is only getting 1K likes. True, that's a big tell. That's why I use hashtags to reach more engaging people. That's a good point, Odie17. Odie, actually, he wants to do a choreographed, he wants to choreograph fight scenes, and he also wants to direct, if I'm recalling correctly, Odie. So he's kind of in the same field here. He's just more on the behind the scenes, behind the camera area. So that's an interesting point. And I think, Khawaja, your point was very good too. It's important for actors to show that they're acting a lot, especially in this area. But like you said, I think
so what had happened was the guy messaged me and he said, hey, I needed someone at the last minute and I couldn't think of someone. And as I was scrolling down through my Facebook feed, your name popped up and I saw that you were on set. And then he said, are you available tomorrow? I said, sure. And then, I went there. It was like a local car commercial for like 2 hours or something. And then I got paid $200 and they wrote a check at the end of the day. So that was because I was marketing myself. And then wherever I go to, people are always like, oh, I saw you post about this. I saw you post about that. And I have some people that are involved with casting on my friends list as well. Mm-hmm. So when they're seeing that I'm working all the time, when I come in for an audition or something like that. So now it's a combination of the way that I look, my resume, my demo reel, and also the fact that they see me on social media like, oh, this guy's a working actor. So if he's getting hired all the time, then he must be doing something right. So maybe we can rely on this guy.
Yes.
Maybe he knows what he's doing. He can take direction well. So I think that's what marketing does for me. Like it really opens me up. People get to know me, and because if I don't post anything, then maybe it's like, oh, this guy's a sucky actor. Like no one hires. So.
Hey, Dr. Nikki. No, we're not doing a debate, but we are doing a nice little podcast/class thing about modeling and acting. On with me right now is Khawaja, who's an actor, like a serious working actor, and Reb, who is a model, like a serious working model. And then there's me, who kind of straddles between, but is doing both. But
you are a hybrid.
I'm a hybrid. But yes, I'll tell all of that, because I think there's a reason that I like a lot of the times when I get acting jobs, they'll be like, oh, I got recommended you, or as I saw you on social media, or it's I saw you in this random ass tag and you tagged DC actor and so I called you up. So that's a really great point.
The power of social media. That's very true.
Yes. Now, Reb, as a model. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying it's not because I've actually met some people like where they I mean not towards me, but they would think this type of marketing to be bragging or something like that, and then I'll see some posts on Facebook, some people and I've joked about this before where they'll post up, they'll be like, oh, just because I'm not mentioning anything on Facebook does not mean that I'm not working. Well, then it's like, okay, well, hey, 2 thumbs up for you, that's great for you. Mm-hmm. But the rest of us, the thing is that we are taking this as a business, and a part of business, like Coca-Cola would not be the level that it's at, or McDonald's if it wasn't for their marketing and their advertisements and commercials, and things
Absolutely.
like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So same thing, like, you know, I want to be Coca-Cola. That's what I'm trying.
There you go. There you go. And you don't have to know a lot about the subject, Dr. Nikki. That's why we're talking about it, so you learn. So you learn. But no, that's such a good point, especially because, actually, speaking on that, I got asked 1,000,000,000,000,000 times if, for people to see me actually using the nunchucks, because nunchucks on my resume. But there were no videos of me doing it. So I finally put up a video on Instagram and Twitter, and that shit did numbers, and suddenly I had a gig, you know, using my nunchucks. It was that simple. So if anybody continues to be like, if someone's like, oh, stop bragging, like, what do you want me to do? Not, like, this whole industry is visual. So if you have a skill, or you're going somewhere, or you're doing something, you need to make it, you know, seeable by everybody else. So, again, great point. You gotta make it known.
Absolutely, because if you want to consider this bragging, then the fact of the matter is that when I'm not bragging, I don't get a whole lot of work, but the more that I brag, the more work that I get. So that's just the way that it goes, for me at least.
Exactly. No, that's right. You know how to use nunchucks? Yeah, I do. I do, Dr. Nikki. I do.
Yeah. Plus,
Pretty well.
that's really badass to just, like, watch. Like, I mean...
Oh, thank you.
Not a lot of people can do that, so, I mean, that is a cool thing to be able to see.
See, it's always weird when people say that, because I'm like, well, everybody I know can use nunchucks. Like...
A small niche.
A small niche of people. But yeah, so let's go on the model side of this, because again, modeling is very visual, but modeling is unique in that it is only visual. It's not auditory.
Mm-hmm.
There's not, well, the movement comes from posing, but there's still, like, you're seeing this one moment of this model per frame. Right. So
yep.
How do you feel about the difference that Khawaja mentioned?
I mean, yeah, I would say there's kind of like that same amount of you know, self-recognition that goes into it. You know, a lot of people say it's, I think maybe more for models than actors, perhaps. Correct me if I'm wrong. More models may get the reputation of being more vain. So it's like sure. The moment that they sort of, you know, say something glamorizing something about themselves, they're seen as very self-absorbed and you know, they're like kind of considered, oh, you're the typical like model who doesn't care about anything or you know, anyone else, and you're just very, you know, self-consumed. But I mean, it sort of goes within the same thing. There is some social media finesse that has to happen with it if you are going to, you know, if you're doing it for work, and you have to be able to use the right hashtags and tag the right people, and
yes.
and it really boils down to the people who are in that community, that they'll understand. They're not going to be judging you. It's like, oh, like, I see what you're saying, I see what you're doing, I want to reach out to you, and you know, they're not going to judge you for it. I think what hinders me a little bit from putting my work out on Facebook is just because, like, the vast majority of my friends on Facebook aren't in the modeling photography community, so they'll just be like, oh, are you, like, you know, are you trying to seek attention? Or, I mean, I feel like they wouldn't usually go to that. That's probably me being devil's advocate. But, you know, it's some people may not understand it. So it's but it doesn't matter what they think at the end of the day. It's a matter of you getting your you know, your money and your gigs, and you know, if you have a really cool piece of art, want it, you know, and if people have problems or issues with it, then let them unfollow you. I mean, or unfriend you. It's as simple as that.
There's definitely, that's a great answer, because there's definitely a lot of that. Dr. Nikki actually had a question. I believe it's directly for Reb. Dr. Nikki, is that correct?
Oh.
No? Okay, I'm just going to ask it. So she goes, I'm going to go on thin ice. What's your opinion about enhancing your photos digitally?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, certainly, like...
Oh, it's for everyone.
Oh,
go on.
It's everyone. Oh, okay. Got it. Well, I mean, and you can certainly chime in on this too, Nika. I would say that is a delicate and can be a precarious situation. It's obviously, it has to be done with care. Because I've had photos back where I'm like, I don't know who this is, and I know it's supposed to be me, but I don't see myself in this.
Oh my god, do you remember? Okay, one that shot you got back from like years ago from Bill Autolycus.
Yes. So crazy. It looked totally blown out and so odd. I mean, like I looked great, but I think I looked much better.
He made you look like a strange baby toddler thing.
Yeah. I can see that.
And for me, my most recent one, and it was the last time I will work with that photographer, last time I've communicated with that photographer, he was doing, what was his name? I forgot, but like...
Was it the gun one?
Yes!
Okay.
And I came back looking like Michael Jackson after the vitiligo.
Oh my god.
And I was like, how does this even happen? What the hell? So he sent me 5 copies of that calendar. So I have 5 copies of my face looking heinous. It was awful. So models don't like it either sometimes. Yeah, no, we prefer our actual bodies. We would like for actual, marketable images of ourselves.
Right.
I don't know if you agree with me, Rev, or Khawaja. I think that sometimes photographers get into this headspace of like, this is my photos, so I'm gonna make it look how I want. The model be damned. So I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I mean, and you've heard me talk your ear off about this before, so you already know how I feel when it comes to, there's this lack of collaboration where it's like, look at it as a team effort. But it's like, no, these are solely my images. And it's like, okay, technically, yes, you're correct. But I mean, again, team effort.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, it's hard not to feel offended when you get an image back where that looks nothing like yourself. And it's like, I mean, you didn't even like preface the shoot saying, I'm going to go in and like digitally alter your figure in your face. So
I have the thing that I always appreciate is I have never had my body altered in a photo. I've never, and I'm not like svelte. So that's started, sometimes I catch like a roll here or there, but like the fact that no one has ever like airbrushed my stomach away or whatever, I actually do appreciate that in the long run.
Cause you got a sick stomach, girl.
Oh, no, girl. Oh, girl. We'll get there. Yes, I agree. Like, usually I'd like to see unmodified images in the marketing. Yeah, for sure. So I can grasp the reality of what they're selling, for sure. That's cool. Thank you, Dr. Nikki. Khawaja, do you have any input about digitally enhanced images? Again, I know if it's digitally enhanced for you, it's like a CGI thing, so I don't know how you feel.
Well, I don't know what exactly the term for this is, but I've only done modeling, quotation marks, 4 times, but this was print modeling. This was for Advanced Auto Parts, Department of Transportation, HCA Healthcare, and Olympus Medical Supplies or whatever.
Okay.
Now, for those things, they take your pictures and you have no say in it. They can do whatever the hell that they want to do with those pictures. I haven't done any sexy modeling. I mean, my hair is receding. I have a pot belly as well, so I don't think I qualify. Not now, at least. I'm gonna hit up the gym, and then I'll see. Then I'll come back on this podcast, and hopefully you guys can give me some tips on being like a sexy guy model.
Oh, we got you.
A sexy beast.
Thank you. As far as actor headshots go, yes, it is the photographer's work, but then at the same time, it's you're paying them, and you're using this for submissions for projects and things like that. So in the acting world, at least, what happens is, well, of course, for guys and women, they will say, no hats, no sunglasses, and nothing that's too distracting, no logos and things like that.
Yes.
And then not most men, I mean some do, but most men tend not to put on makeup. As far as women go, of course you can put makeup on for a headshot, but it should be minimal. It should be natural looking.
Yes.
Because you don't want to put so much on your face, and then when you go, because what happens is you put so much on your face and you go into the audition, you got to look like what you look like in the picture. Now, yes, you could do the same makeup for the audition, but then if they don't want that makeup, they don't really know what you look like underneath that makeup.
That's a good point.
But as far as digitally touching and stuff, the most that they'll do is, I don't know all the terms and stuff, but like, like if you have like maybe a scar, well, actually no, your scar should probably remain in the photo.
Yeah.
but I guess, I don't know, maybe if you have like a pimple or on your face or something, like, maybe they'll, say as a guy, because you're not using makeup anyways, and you have like a little bit of pimples, maybe they'll digitally retouch it or whatever so that those pimples aren't apparent. And that's not cheating, because usually every single time I've had makeup on, they try to hide the imperfections anyways on my face.
Yes.
So they very, very minimal digital touching that they'll do. Yeah, because you gotta look like yourself in the pictures at the end of the day. So that's how that usually works in the acting industry.
So you're fully okay with it as long as it doesn't interrupt the natural look of the person.
I mean, those aren't my rules, but those are the rules that tend to be in the industry, because otherwise you probably won't get the job.
That's true. When I did my headshots, it was way easier. I felt a lot more comfortable doing my own, like, first set. I always call them my beginner headshots, because I know what my face looks like. And I think the only thing I did with that photo was there was like a stray hair from one of my eyebrows, and I wiped it away. And I cleared the flyaways from my hair. That was the most I did. I'm trying to engage in the conversation, even though I know shit about. Oh no, that's fine, Dr. Nikki. You actually had a good question. Where did it go? What kind of models are the other guys? Oh, well, Rev's a girl. But Khawaja is an actor. Rev's a model. I somewhat know what you do, but I know a deal what the other people do. So I'm like the hybrid here, and then I guess they're both hybrids technically. They've both done both.
Like a single dab maybe. I probably wouldn't consider myself, but I mean, that's cool if you think so.
I mean, I think if you've acted, you can. If it's something that you think you would pursue at some point, definitely call yourself an actor. If you consider yourself more a model, be a model. I'm not going to tell you what you are.
It's not more like I don't want to. It's just that I can't act. So.
Khawaja, would you say you're solely an actor, or would you say that you're like a modeling actor? You can do both. You're comfortable with both.
Well, as I said earlier, I've only done print modeling, and that's something that after doing 4 of those and getting paid, decently for it as well, I think that's something that I want to. That's not the only path, like not exclusive, but I want to follow down that road now.
Okay.
Because it's a lot of fun. It's I guess if you're an actor, but because print modeling, to be honest, like anybody can do print modeling. You could be a baby. You could be 90 years old. It really doesn't matter what you look. I mean, up to a certain point, like, but most of the times, like, it doesn't matter what you look like. Now, if you're, I'm not judging, someone that weighs 300 pounds. But let me just give you an example. If
There's
you're
a market.
Yeah, if you're 5'5" and you're 300 pounds, you probably won't be selected as a doctor for a print modeling gig. That's not going to happen. That's not realistic.
You're right.
But there's other things as well, that a 300-pound, 5'5" guy could be selected for many things.
Yeah.
He could be selected for he's buying some kind of saw machine at Home Depot, or
True.
maybe he's there's like a Chipotle ad or something, or maybe it's for New Balance sneakers or something. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
I like print modeling because it pays a pretty good amount, and
That it does.
it's not hectic on set. It's very easygoing. People are like very down to earth, and there's a lot of downtime where you can just be on your phone and search for other gigs.
Yeah.
When you go up, you do your thing. You just keep it very natural. They'll have the costume or the wardrobe, whatever, picked out for you. You just point to things, you talk, you just keep it natural, and you just do that. Now, as far as bodybuilding or like what what Rep does, like with I guess legitimate, like, modeling, or whatever the term may be. That's something I can't do. I can't hit any poses. I can't even dance. So. I mean, maybe one day in the future I'll get into it. Like, as I said, if I transform my body a little bit, my physique. But for now, yeah, I'm still a baby into print modeling. But what I've seen though is that as long as you're just professional and you can take directions, I think anybody can be a print model. You just have to be respectful, professional, and just follow directions, and then and just market yourself. And it's that easy. Now, like regular modeling, that's a completely different ball game. For that, you have a lot of competition, and a lot of times, or sometimes it is how you look, it is how you do the makeup, it is what how photographers view you and things like that, and sometimes it is what your poses are. What can you bring to the table? But in print modeling, you just bring yourself and just professionalism, and then you can do it.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it out. So, Dr. Nikki, so are they like commercial models? Reb could be considered a commercial model.
Potentially, yeah. I think it's kind of like an avenue, sort of deliberately pursue. I feel like I would probably need to get more like onto the like. Does Dragonip do stuff like that?
They have a modeling section, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not updated all the time, though.
Yeah, that's true. But it's a place.
Got it.
But so I went back to the slide with all the different kinds of modeling. Reb, are you still looking at the stream at all?
Yeah, I had to go charge my phone. Let me.
I have a question for Reb.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any print modeling yourself personally?
The only thing I did print-wise, I was a model for a telecommunications company.
Oh.
Yeah, it was called Morecom, and they like dressed me up in like the gear, and it was like I was like looking for a helicopter like in the sky, and like had the walkie-talkie with me. So very minimally, I've done it. I've mostly just done the private, like private for trade or paid shoots. So.
And you've been published.
Yeah, I've been published a couple times, so that's always a cool thing. But yeah, for the publications, I think it was mostly like fashion editorial or stuff like that.
Well, what do you think? What do you think about print modeling? Like, is that something? Oh, and I did print modeling for Comcast as well at the Comcast headquarters. So actually, that's 5 then.
Nice.
Oh, that's a breach. Now you're a model, buddy.
I know. 5 is that magic number.
A model.
But yeah, I think you should get. I mean, if you want to, of course, you follow where your heart wants to go. But I think that you guys should try to get into print modeling, because
I've done it a lot.
Yeah, the work sometimes, if you get the ball rolling, like it can be consistent. And it pays quite well. Now I don't know what that means quite well in this industry, but what I mean is now there's a lot of people in podcasts and interviews that I see, like, I'm not out here to expose all the secrets, because what if one day I want to be like a coach or something, then how am I going to make money if I just like spilled everything out there? But like usually though, like, for print modeling, the average pay that I've seen is usually between $300 to $600. Now, if you guys feel that that's too low, then hey, then it is what it is, and maybe don't get into print modeling. But
too low.
If you guys feel that that's decent, or that's pretty good pay, then you guys may want to consider it, because now this is all that I've ever done. I've only done print modeling 5 times, and that's a really, really low number compared to a couple to few hundred productions of acting that I've been in over the past 19 years. But with you guys, the amount of modeling that you guys have done, I don't know what's the term for that type of modeling. I guess I just call it modeling. I think that you guys would have the upper hand, have an advantage when it comes to print modeling, because you have such a diverse portfolio that you can show to these clients or agencies, and it's like, oh, because if you've done modeling, then I don't see why you couldn't be successful in print modeling. And if print modeling ends up paying you a lot more than regular modeling, then, and if you like it, then they want to, go with that. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still modeling. I mean, yeah, it's maybe it's not as exciting because you're not like posing on like in front of a waterfall or something, and you're holding like a stupid digital camcorder and then advertising that, or like a soft drink in your hand or something. But at the end of the day, it's modeling, and then also you can it may lead to bigger, better, more opportunities later down the road.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's completely right.
That's something to consider. I would never probably close the door on anything that I have people in the industry doing alike things that would suggest, I would definitely be like, all right, let me look into it.
But you should. I think you should. Like, I just did the print ad for Apple.
Ooh.
For, the new library, right? And that was super chill, and they paid us for the full day, but we were only there for like 2 hours. So,
oh wow, awesome.
So I was like, oh, thank Jesus. So, so I mean, it's something that experience made me go, oh, maybe I can do this again. Like, hopefully I can make this a thing as well, in addition to acting. So, oh, Dr. Nikki says, busy convo, it's cool. Haven't seen this kind of thing on Twitch yet. Hell yeah. Depends on how long the gig. Yeah, you're right. Depends on how long it is. You're right. But what was I gonna say before? Oh yeah. So this is the kind of different kinds of modeling. We're back to this slide. Again, there are so many kinds, and just as how you can have so many different kinds of actor, there's a market for almost everybody in acting and modeling. So even if you're like, again, a 5'5" portly man, there's a spot for you in all kinds of things. You can be background. People make a career out of being an extra. You could be the hottest woman on the planet Earth, but if you have a nasty attitude, you're probably not going to go anywhere. Commercial modeling is very open right now. That's about the only thing that's really open right now. No, that's not true. Runway modeling is getting more inclusive. Glamour modeling is getting more inclusive, but also more naked. I would dare say swimsuit and lingerie modeling is also becoming way more inclusive. There's a ton of different fitness line, swimsuit and lingerie lines that are made for like all sizes now instead of just a size 2. So it's all becoming more inclusive for the most part, and that's why the market is so diverse. So I would say if anybody's been here the whole time, if you are interested in acting and modeling, no matter what you look like, okay, there's a place for you if you want it. You just got to get out there and work for it.
Amen.
Yeah. Because I think when we started, we were both like, I don't know. I'm not like svelte.
Yeah, there's such a stigma that's attached to it. Like, oh, I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no. Like, you own it and make it how you want to sell yourself. And if you are confident about selling who you are and what you have to offer, then people are gonna, the people who want to follow you will follow you and fall in love with it.
Yeah, you're right. And like, I know every kind's included. Oh, is this like the all-inclusive modeling chart? No, it's just the different kinds of modeling. But the fact that you immediately looked at it and thought it was like every kind of inclusive facet of modeling, that tells you your own thing. There's a place for everybody. Huzzah!
Yeah.
Rainbow togetherness. That's not to say some people aren't shitty. There are some shitty people. But, I mean, there's definitely a spot for everybody.
Yep.
What did I want to say? Oh, as for our final foyer, because this is part 1, and I do want to definitely have another one of these. But I want to kind of get you guys' like a statement about, like, what's the hardest thing you've had to deal with in your respected field?
Mm-hmm.
I need to find a way to change this to just Khawaja. Steven, can I paste Khawaja's head on Steven's head really fast?
I don't have the video thing on, so I don't know. I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, I made it like an image to be like, these are my guests today, but it was when I only had Steven and Reb. But then you came on today, and I was like, fuck, I didn't make one for Khawaja. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I'm gonna figure it out. You just, so yeah, like what's the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome so far, guys? Reb, why don't you start this one?
So the question, just want to clarify, is your biggest hurdle with being in the industry?
Yeah, so
like,
in your respective field, so modeling for you, what's the biggest hurdle you've had to come over?
Got it. I would probably have to say it's the whole like me against me type of thing. Just like very, you know, self-conscientious and constantly, you know, and I know many people may not suffer with this, but I do. I'm chronically like, you know, comparing myself to, you know, other models. And it's interesting because you just discussed this about how they're becoming so many niches are becoming more inclusive, but it's like despite that, you know, we still fall into this theory of like, no, I'm not skinny enough, or I'm not this enough and not that, and it's kind of a mental trap. And so you just have to do the mental gymnastics to be able to get yourself out of it, and, you know, be able to move forward. So I would probably say that's my biggest obstacle with modeling is just feeling like, you know, I don't need this person's validation. I don't need so-and-so to follow me, you know, and this, that, third. So a lot of people get caught up in the clickiness and all those things, but it's best to stay above all that.
I would say rejection, because I don't have the stats, but sometimes it's like you just keep submitting and submitting and submitting, and you're either being rejected or you're not getting any sort of confirmation as far as which direction they decided to go. But there's a way to overcome rejection, and the thing is that sometimes it just takes a lot of time, and you have to build up. As I said, you know, like the more you market yourself, the more you submit. And it's not about, I mean, this is like an overused saying, but it's not about, you know, how many times you fall or whatever the thing is, but how many times you get back up.
Yeah.
And just got to be persistent with it, and then eventually things are going to come. So if you don't limit yourself, I mean, I've got my limits, you know, it's not like I'm going to go out there and do like adult films or something like that. But, you know, like that aside, like, you know, any acting gig that's out there that's paying, and I even do, from time to time, I'll do short student films for free, and you do get something out of it. You know, you're able to add it to your reel, and a lot of times these students, they're going to be tomorrow's industry leaders. They'll be tomorrow's directors, producers, casting agents, and things like that.
Yep.
So if you just keep submitting and keep growing and continue to learn your craft, and, you know, update your photos and your resume and your demo reel, and keeping in touch with people, eventually the jobs are going to come. And, you know, just have a good attitude on everything that you do, and just keep submitting, because sometimes what will happen is, yes, for this week, you know, maybe you've submitted to 50 different things and you got no calls at all. And then all of a sudden the next week, you know, you get like 5 bookings for stuff that you submitted to like a month ago or something.
Yeah.
So I think that the trick or the secret is to continue to plant seeds, because sometimes that rose or that flower is going to grow out of a place that you never expected it to.
You're right. Always be submitting. Always be submitting.
Yep.
I would go along the lines with that as being my biggest hurdle as well. Just kind of dealing with the process not going as fast as I want it to go. I think that was my biggest hurdle. Now I am very comfortable with like submitting a bunch of stuff and then just waiting, because something will grow eventually if I plant the seeds, right? So that's how I look at it.
Yeah. Keep watering that plant.
Exactly.
But yeah, you don't want to just of course strictly wait. You want to, you know, I mean, as you're waiting for the other stuff, you want to continue applying.
Yes.
Well,
always be supplying. Always be submitting. That's the word I was looking for. Submitting. That's what I mean. Like, don't just do like a bunch one week and then don't do any the next week. You got to do a bunch that week, and then a bunch that week, and then a bunch another week, and then a bunch that week too. So it's kind of like a constant process. And I also like, I'm one of those people that's kind of like, I'll vacillate between, like, I'm gonna submit for all of these things even if I don't fit the role, and then like the next week I guess I get like really shy about it, and I'm like, I'm only gonna submit for these things that I think I'm good for. So that's another hurdle I'm trying to get over, is like being self-conscious before I even get into the room with these people. Like, that's another thing I think that I struggle with. So I don't know if you get that as well, Khawaja. Uh-oh.
No.
Oh no, I'm still here.
Okay.
Something in my
Jeff
car.
Gann, do you have an agent? I do not have an agent. Do you have an agent, Khawaja?
I have one, but where I'm located at in the DMV district, DC, Maryland, Virginia, there's not really a whole lot of agents around here.
Yeah.
And some of the ones that you do encounter, there's a lot of these fake scammy agents. I think what they do is they take the free sources online that are available to everybody else, like Dragonuck and Facebook, and they decide to become agents to people that don't know anything about these sites or these places to look for gigs.
Yep.
And they will submit people to these things and then take a cut out of it. So I'm with a woman by the name of Lisa Ristaw, I think her name is. She has a website called ImpressiveTalent.com. A lot of the most of the gigs, it seems, that she books for tend to take place like in the Philadelphia or Pennsylvania area.
Yeah.
And she's kind of new. I could be wrong, but I think she's only been in the business as far as being an agent for like the past maybe a year or something like that. Because I think I was one of the first people on her roster. And I've gotten 2 gigs booked through her. One was a orthopedic commercial, and the other was the Comcast print modeling thing that I had done. And she takes 15% out. There's nothing that I had to pay to her, and I'm free to join as many other agencies, as I want to. If I book anything on my own, I don't have to pay her, which a couple agents around here do that. Like they'll make you sign this contract where even if you found something on Craigslist for like $50, they want like 20% of it.
Yep. Yeah. Scammers.
And yeah, so and the thing is that you don't have to give it to them, but if they find out that they could probably go whatever the legal thing would be to go after you. But there's casting directors around the DMV, but there's really not that many agents though. To be honest,
there isn't. Thanks for the question, Jeff Gann, who was a stand-in for. Oh, he's credited in Black Panther. That's cool, man. That is very cool. People make entire careers out of being a stand-in, an extra, a whole bunch of stuff that you wouldn't expect. I'm still learning about all the different things you can do to make money in this arena.
Yeah, but the thing about being an extra as a career, you could do that, but it does come with a bunch of cons. I mean, it comes with pros as well, but like some of the cons that stick out to me is that if you want to do solely just extra as a career, you can do that. But first of all, for that, you probably want to join the union. Yeah. Because otherwise, you'll be doing if you go to Georgia. Like the non-union rate sometimes is ridiculous. It's laughable. It's like they pay you like $65 for like 10 hours of work or something like that.
Yeah,
you can't live off of that. And the places where they have like pretty much non-stop extra work over and over again is New York and Georgia. Now the thing with New York is that if you want to be strictly an extra person, then you got to understand that sometimes the days are long and sometimes it's like overnight shoots. So you're looking at sometimes 12, 15-hour days. And if you do that over and over again, like eventually you're going to burn yourself out. So I'm not made for that type of work. Now, Georgia, Atlanta, the cost of living is much cheaper.
Not in Atlanta.
Not in Atlanta?
Atlanta's very expensive, but the area, I think you're thinking of like Savannah,
maybe
all those more countryer areas type deals.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just comparing it to like DC or Potomac, Maryland, or something. I don't know.
Oh.
But the pay is like very shitty in Atlanta. But I mean, if you're able to become a union background actor, then I've heard that I don't know a whole lot about the union because I'm not interested in it at this point in my career. But it does come with benefits. Like there are some health insurance benefits that are provided. I've even heard of a possible pension type of thing that you can also get out of that.
Oh.
And if you rack up penalties, like penalties basically like if it rains on set or if there's smoke or if they delayed your lunch break or something like that, then the more you get paid. Like being strictly an extra as a career is extremely brutal.
Yeah.
So you want to think twice. Actually, no, maybe make that 3 times. You want to think 3 times.
Yes.
Or you get yourself involved in that kind of quicksand.
For sure, I agree. The only reason I knew that people were making careers out of being extras is when we did Handmaids, Khawaja. I was talking to, or not Handmaids. I think it was Messiah. I think it was that day. One of those. And then there was this couple, and all they do is do extra work that comes into DC. And they were like, we make a lot of really great money. We're in the union. I did ask, they're in the union. But they're like, sometimes we don't work for a month because the last month was so brutal for our bodies. So.
Yeah, but it also depends on certain individuals. Like for example, I don't know if it's the same couple that I know of, but I know of certain lots of elderly couples, and I know a lot of retired people as well.
Yes.
That do extra work, and for them it's fine because I mean I don't know about people's private information and stuff, but a lot of times these some of these people, they are retired. They have in terms of assets and homes that they own, they have a certain net worth or whatever, and because they're retired, because they already have grandkids and things like that, they can do this type of stuff, and they do it just because they don't want to be bored, alone at home. But now the story maybe is completely different for someone that's 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old. There's one guy that I know, he works for, I think the company's called Siemens, some kind of, not that type. But he worked for the company for many years, and he retired. So he does a lot of background, and I asked him, I said, hey, why don't you get involved with anything else? He's like, oh, I'm not an actor, it's like doing background. But his story is that, he has a lot of money saved up, I'm pretty sure. He's retired. He actually, he lives in Delaware, and he travels all over to New York, Jersey, Philly, DC, Baltimore, and he does this. So even if he drove from Delaware to somewhere where, even if at the end of the day, he went into a negative $10, it's not that big of a deal because he's not really doing it because he's trying to make a career out of this. He's just doing it just because it's fun for him. And then, everybody's situation is different. I'll just give you one last example. Now, this could be for men as well. I'm just going to use some women as an example just because of people that I've talked to. But I'm not trying to sound sexist over here at all. I mean, because there could be some house husbands as well. Who knows?
Yeah. But
I have met some women that have only been acting for say a few years, and they're extremely successful. They're doing all sorts of industrial hosting, teleprompter work, print modeling, and this and that. They're traveling all over the place, and then I'll see in their picture, maybe they have a Porsche SUV. And I'm like, man, how the hell is this possible, right? Because I've been acting for almost 2 decades, and how are they so much advanced than I am? Now, yes, I don't want to discredit them or something like that. They do put in a lot of work, but then I found out that their situations were different because their husbands were making $200,000 plus a year, and the these women, they were. I guess they were housewives, or maybe they had part-time jobs or something like that. So they're able to completely focus on this. They have an extreme great financial backing. So there's, even if they fail, or even if they don't get any gigs for a month or something, that's okay. And then they will purposely they don't have to do student films. They don't have to do background work for $75, $80. They don't need to fill up the calendars with like a whole bunch of paid dates. Like, like me, I fill up my calendar with like, any profit, whether it's $50 profit, $500 profit, because this is how I earn a living. This is how, I pay my bills and things like that. So it depends on everybody's situation. Now I'm pretty sure, like, if I was able to find a woman and get married to her, and she was like, say, a surgeon or something, I would be a hell of a lot more successful than I am right now, because I would have nothing but time, nothing but money, and I can go to New York, California all the time to audition, because I have that sort of financial backing. Yeah. But that's not my situation, though. So it really depends on the individual. And again, not trying to sound sexist, because maybe there is some kind of house husband or something that is in this kind of situation. But I'm just going based off of, the people that I've spoken to, and the people, like, that had this I was just kind of, I was like, wow, this is a mystery. Like, what is this? And then I got to the bottom of it. And then I found out, I was like, oh, your husband's a CEO of this tech company or this and that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, then that's the trick. That's not exactly completely fair, but I understand you're working hard. I mean, I don't want to take any credit away from you, but, believe me, if I won the lottery or something, I might be in your same position.
Right. I fully understand. Also, while that happened, thank you so much for the follow, Lorraine. 4155, I super appreciate it. You the bestest. The first film I ever worked on, there was a guy that snuck onto set and got a speaking part. He got a day player rate for 3 days. That's amazing. I'm sneaking onto all the sets now. I'm not going to, though. I don't like being arrested. It doesn't sound like a fun thing. No, so I seriously want to thank you guys for hanging out and giving your expertise, your opinions, your advice. I super appreciate that.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Like, so I definitely want to, if you guys want to come on to any of the other classes, please feel free. I think the next one, I got to pick a topic for next one. What do you guys suggest?
We're going to mull that over.
Do it. So this one was all about how to get started.
Yeah, this was a great presentation, honestly. So
thank you.
I don't know. I guess maybe the next podcast can be like how to really get started, because this one touched on some things, but I don't think. Maybe I don't know. Maybe for modeling, or maybe for acting, because there were parts of the podcast that I had actually missed. Oh. But I don't know if the audience, if they actually, if they're gonna. I mean, they did learn a lot of valuable information, but I don't know if they, in the acting world at least, I don't know if they actually understand how to get started, who to go to, where to look for jobs, where to get the training and things like that. So I don't know if it's been laid out for them or not.
Oh no! So this was literally so bare bones. It was like, here's the basics. This was 101 class. So if you wanted to make a 102 class version of this, my pick would be to really focus in on one of these subjects for acting and or modeling. I could do both again, but I feel like doing both makes it so I have to like do like the bare bones. So if I did acting or modeling, a 102 course, I think it would be kind of like, what are the next steps? Or I definitely thought about like how to get yourself paid and when to ask for money in modeling, because I think a lot of newer models are like, I'm gonna walk onto this photographer and get paid. Like, that's not how that works.
Yeah, like the differences between accepting trade and prioritizing paid shoots. Yeah, something along those.
But for acting, I don't know what I would do, because I'm still such a baby in acting. I can totally talk about how to not get scammed, and to how to like make a good impression on set so you don't get shoved out of the room before you're ready.
I think you have definitely a lot of possibilities, kind of these schoolings coming, because these are and interactive.
I like that. Interactive.
Yeah.
Don't use Broadway techniques on film. You right, Jeff Ginn. You are right.
You right.
You right. All right. Guys, thank you so much. Again, this is Rebecca Renee.
Hi!
Yes. If you guys are in my Discord, I'm going to put all of her socials in the Discordia. I'm also going to put Khawaja Aziz just socials in the Discordia because I forgot to make a panel for him. It was like literally I hit him up like 4 hours ago, and I was like, hey, Steven's not gonna be on. Do you want to come on and give your expert advice? And he was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna make it home, but you made it home.
Well, no, I was actually doing this from my car.
Oh snap! Okay. Oh my gosh, you risked safety and limb for this.
Yeah. Well, I was sitting in my car at first in a parking lot because I had to go to my part-time job to take care of some business, and then I just put on the AC and just reclined a little bit and just chilled.
Oh. Well, okay then. Okay. Well, I appreciate that. Well, I'll be putting both of their socials in the Discord, probably on my Twitter as well, so that you guys can find them. I super appreciate everyone who came through and asked questions. I super appreciate all the guests that we have. I'll put Steven's stuff in there as well. But you guys are familiar with Steven. Maybe I'm not gonna promote Steven anymore. Whatever. Goodbye. But that is it for our class today. Thank you guys so much for being here. Everyone say bye, Red. Bye, Khawaja.
Break a leg. Or break 2 legs.
Break all the legs. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.